If you've been following CD Projekt Red news over the past year or two, you might know about the fact that the company hasn't been in particularly good terms with Witcher writer Andrzej Sapkowski. Essentially, Andrzej Sapkowski sold the Witcher licensing to CD Projekt Red for a one-time fee, thinking that if he were to go with royalties, he wouldn't make his money back or wouldn't make as much money because he believed that CD Projekt Red's video game endeavors with Witcher would fail. So now, after Witcher has become greatly successful, Andrzej Sapkowski has pursued restitution. He wants some of the profits that CD Projekt Red has seen as a result of the Witcher video game success, and it's led to some conflict there. But it would seem as though there's some resolution finally coming on that front. For those who haven't kept up with the story, I'll explain how that all came about in a bit. But for now, let's check out this statement from the official CD Projekt Red website, in which CD Projekt confirms that they have solidified relationships with Witcher books author Andrzej Sapkowski. So this statement from December 20th, 2019 reads as follows. CD Projekt, creators of the Witcher series of games and upcoming role-playing game Cyberpunk 2077, together with Andrzej Sapkowski, author of the Witcher books, would like to inform that today both parties signed an agreement further solidifying their relationship. And then right here we have a quote from Adam Kaczynski, president of CD Projekt. We have always admired Mr. Andrzej Sapkowski's works, a great inspiration for the team here at CD Projekt Red. I believe today marks a new stage in our continued relationship. And then the statement continues with, the agreement satisfies and fully clarifies the needs and expectations of both parties, past and present, and sets out a framework for the future cooperation between the two sides. Future cooperation. Interesting. And then this reads, the agreement grants CD Projekt Red new rights, as well as confirms the company's title to the Witcher intellectual property in video games, graphic novels, board games, and merchandise. So it would seem as though CD Projekt Red's relationship with the Witcher IP won't change all that much. They're going to have as much freedom as possible within the confines of the Witcher games, which are separate from the Witcher books and obviously the Netflix series. So it's good to hear that there's a resolution here and that we might be able to expect even more Witcher games down the line. There's rumors out there that CD Projekt Red is likely eventually going to work on a brand new AAA Witcher game. Whether it's going to be titled Witcher 4 or not remains to be seen, given that CD Projekt Red has made it clear that they are not going to make Geralt the protagonist again. That concluded with Witcher 3, so if there were to be a Witcher 4 or a Witcher spin-off, it'd have to be a different protagonist, say Ciri or somebody else. Who knows? The possibilities are endless. Now, interesting to note is that as news of CD Projekt solidifying relationships with Andrzej Sapkowski began to spread, people began to contemplate the possibility of Witcher 4, like Mad Queen show here. And Pavel Sasko, I believe it's pronounced, who is one of the Cyberpunk 2077 and Witcher developers who works at CD Projekt Red, actually liked this tweet right here, contemplating this possibility. Now, this could very well be a developer just sort of doing a wish fulfillment and saying, yeah, I would love it if this happened by liking a tweet like this, or maybe the developer knows more than they're letting on. Either way, it would seem as though CD Projekt Red is enthusiastic about revisiting the Witcher world, and not just in the form of, Gwent and the smaller titles, but only time will tell what will happen on that front. But it's good to hear that CD Projekt and Andrzej Sapkowski have settled their differences, because I think they could do a lot of cool shit working together, working in tandem rather than opposed against each other and legally threatening each other and stuff like that. So I think CD Projekt Red handled this really well, and I'm glad that Andrzej actually was willing to talk about things rather than just pursue his legal threats that he made some time back. Now, for those who aren't aware of what happened between CD Projekt and Andrzej prior to the solidification of their relationship, well, some would say that this tension between the two could date as back as 2012, when Eurogamer published the following article when Andrzej Sapkowski expressed his just lack of interest and lack of appreciation for video games. He says right here, "I do not play computer games as they're far beyond my sphere of interest. I've never played any computer games, be it fantasy or others. Sometimes I read through dedicated gaming magazines or watch television programs, graphics and technology. Sometimes I admire. I cannot say anything about the plots, though, apart from the fact that some types of games seem to lack any story whatsoever. Those seem to be all about the hack and slash." And then when talking about the Witcher games specifically, he sort of tried to delegitimize them by saying that they're not an alternative version of his work. He did say that the Witcher video game is well made and that its success is well deserved and the creators deserve all the splendor and honor due, but in no way can it be considered to be an alternative version nor a sequel to the Witcher Geralt stories, because this can only be told by Geralt's creator, a certain Andrei Sapkowski. It's clear even back then that Sapkowski didn't particularly appreciate that the games were more popular than his books. Even if the games did make the books more popular, he wants the books to be seen as the main Witcher work, with the games being seen as a side thing. But a lot of people, because they were introduced to Witcher through the games, they see the games as the main thing and the books as a side venture. So I think that's an aspect that he takes umbrage with. And then years later, Eurogamer interviewed Andrei Sapkowski again. This is an article from March 25th, 2017. And in this article, Andrei expressed regret at the way he sold off the Witcher licensing for video games at a one-time payment fee rather than asking for royalty. So he said right here, "I was stupid enough to sell them rights to the whole bunch. They offered me a percentage of their profits. CD Projekt actually offered royalties. He said, no, there will be no profit at all. Give me all my money right now, the whole amount. It was stupid. I was stupid enough to leave everything in their hands because I didn't believe in their success. But who could foresee their success? I couldn't." He gambled, and the gamble didn't pay off. He gambled wrong. He chose the wrong horse, if you will. Now, he did compliment CD Projekt Red by saying that the game is made very well, and they merit all of the beneficiaries they get from it. They merit it. But then, in an interview with Vice, not long after the Eurogamer interview, this is from April 6th, 2017, Andrei Sapkowski once again spoke about video games as if they were not a good storytelling medium. So he said right here, "A video game serves a different purpose. It works differently. How much substance can there be in the lines of text when the hero walks through the woods and talks to a squirrel? Where's the literature in that? Where's the room for depth or sophisticated language with which games could elevate culture? There is none." This is coming from a man who admitted flat out that he doesn't play games and probably did not play the Witcher games and doesn't know about the depth of storytelling in those games. So it's unfortunate that he said something like this and sort of downplayed video games, and that didn't sit well with a lot of people and fans of both the books and the games. And then in the same interview, Andrei Sapkowski accused CD Projekt Red of attempting to conceal the game's origins. He says right here, "It's written in fine print. You need a microscope to see it, that the game is based on my books." But CD Projekt Red never made it a secret that their games are based off of Andrei Sapkowski's books. It isn't something that they highlight every 10 seconds in the game per se, but they do credit the books, and they have been pretty open about that throughout the Witcher series of video games development. So this is kind of a moot argument, especially when a lot of media outlets reporting on the Witcher games know that they're derived from the books and have said as much, and as a result, the books have gained popularity. So after all of this, after Andrei expressed regrets about not monetizing the Witcher licensing agreement between him and CD Projekt Red better, October 2nd, 2018 occurred. This was the day when CD Projekt Red announced that, quote, "The management board of CD Projekt Red hereby announces that on October 1st, 2018, the company received an official demand for payment filed by plenipotentiaries of Mr. Andrei Sapkowski." Essentially, Sapkowski threatened CD Projekt Red legally unless they pay him additional royalties that were not in the original contract. He believes that he's due that amount because he is the original creator of that work. despite the contract that they originally signed. And you can see the letter of demand for payment right here from Sapkowski's lawyer. So right here it talks about how, quote, it may be assumed that standard royalty rates associated with use of a work, particularly in adaptations, are approximately 5 to 15% of the profits generated. And then down here, the letter of demand talks about how the compensation should be at least 6% of the profits obtained. And then right down here, the demand was that CD Projekt pay Andrzej Sapkowski essentially $16 million worth of Polish currency. Andrzej's claim being that he is owed a small percentage of the profits achieved with the Witcher games. So CD Projekt Red fired back by stating the following. In the company's opinion, the demands expressed in the notice are groundless with regard to their merit as well as the stipulated amount. The company had legitimately and legally acquired copyright to Mr. Andrzej Sapkowski's work insofar as is required for its use in games developed by the company. All liabilities payable by the company in association therewith have been properly discharged. And I'll remind you once again that CD Projekt Red offered royalties to Andrzej that he then turned down, believing that he would make more money by taking a one-time lump sum payment. CD Projekt Red never attempted some kind of subterfuge. They laid out everything before him, and then Andrzej made his decision. Now, CD Projekt did proceed by stating here that they want to maintain good relations with the author and that they want to resolve this peacefully, but in a way that's fair to both sides. They're not just gonna give in to his demands, but they do want to talk about it. And then the following year, in 2019, on February 4th, a news outlet going by the name Puls Biznesu, which is a Polish outlet, claimed, according to WCCF Tech, that an amicable settlement has been reached. Sapkowski will be offered further compensation from CD Projekt Red, but the amount will be much lower than what Sapkowski was asking. Additionally, this compensation is a form of recognition for Sapkowski's work and to maintain a healthy relationship with him. So that was the rumor back in February 4th, 2019, which finally brings us to the most recent update on that, December 20th, 2019, when we heard that CD Projekt Red has struck a new deal with Witcher author, which brings us back around to the statement that I talked about at the beginning of this video. And here is even more good news for the Witcher franchise and for CD Projekt Red. So as many of you probably know, Netflix recently launched the TV adaptation of the Witcher series, which I absolutely love, by the way. It isn't perfect, but the foundation is there. I think Henry Cavill absolutely kills it as Geralt of Rivia, and I just cannot wait to see how they evolve the show when they move to season 2, which has already been confirmed, by the way. Now, this Netflix show has caused something of a ripple effect across the entire Witcher lineup of products. I'm assuming that the books might have also seen a surge in sales, but beyond that, CD Projekt Red's own Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is seeing an incredible surge of players after the Netflix show's launch. So check out Steam charts right here. We can see that the all-time peak for Witcher 3 in terms of concurrent players was 92,268. But over the last 24 hours, the peak has been at 75,000, which is pretty close to the all-time peak. And as we speak right now, 72,137 players are online playing Witcher 3. And keep in mind that this is only on Steam, only on PC. I can only imagine what these numbers might look like if you take into consideration other platforms like GOG and consoles like Xbox One and PlayStation 4. These numbers have just shot up at an incredible level. I'm assuming that there's going to be a bit of a sales boost as well. And you can see the numbers right here, how they started off with 92,000 players and then they slowly went down, and we saw some surges here and there up to 50,000 and whatnot, 30,000. But to see it at 70,000, over 70,000 at this stage in the game's life cycle, that's pretty incredible. And it goes to show not only how appealing Witcher is as a franchise, but how amazing this game is and how replayable it is. Just so many paths you can take, and it's such a great game that people just always want to revisit it. It's one of those just classics. So this is so cool to see. There is nobody else who deserves it more than CD Projekt Red, a company that's continued to maintain its consumer-friendly stance and that genuinely makes awesome games. And to see the Witcher series just evolve like this, to see it go to new heights as we see more adaptations, from the books to the games, the Netflix TV show, everybody wins. The whole Witcher franchise wins, and the fans win as well, because it's cool to see these different adaptations and different mediums. And I hope Andre is grateful to see that people appreciate his work to the extent that we're seeing all of these different adaptations. This is cool stuff indeed, and there's no reason to not embrace this stuff. But with the new deal reached between CD Projekt Red and Andrei Sapkowski, it would seem as though they're both willing to move on. Look forward to a bright future for the Witcher franchise. And yeah, it's just going to be exciting to see what new Witcher games we might see from CD Projekt Red and what Season 2 of the Netflix show is going to be like. And I'm excited to delve into the books. I've actually not read the books, and I should, now that I'm so invested in this series. Anyway, that's that. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the way CD Projekt Red and Andrei Sapkowski settled their dispute and the recent resurgence of players in Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, according to Steam charts here. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.